Our objectives for today are to describe a couple of reasons why food might spoil, and then to discuss methods of preserving food. Food preservation has been around for a while as an issue. This has been something that has been around for a long time, okay? Back before we had electricity and, before we actually farmed things. When there was food around in the warmer months, there was food, and when there wasn't in the colder months, people went hungry because there wasn't a way to take that extra food that existed during the warmer months and keep it for the cooler ones when the food wasn't around, okay? So they developed some early methods of food preservation, okay, such as cooking it, okay? So when we learned to cook food, we discovered that cooking a food preserves it for longer, right? If you cook a steak and then keep the steak at room temperature, it stays good longer than if you don't cook the steak, right? It goes bad pretty quickly at room temperature if you don't cook it.
Because there's no moisture in it.
It does help remove some moisture. It also helps deactivate some enzymes, which are things we're going to talk about. So drying it is another method. So if you really want to remove the moisture, you do more than just cook it. You dry it, okay? And removing that moisture helps stop reactions. And then finally, they would do things like keep it in a cool place, like a root cellar or in a stream where the water was very cold. And these things would help to keep the food good longer. Okay. Since the development of electricity and further scientific advancement, we've way improved our ability to preserve food. The first improvement we made was the ability to refrigerate things. So now we have fridges that can keep things at very low temperatures and freezers that can keep them at even lower temperatures year-round, which helps slow down chemical reactions, and it helps slow down bacteria growth because bacteria have optimal temperatures in which they can survive and reproduce. So if you lower the temperature below optimal, then they can't do that. So it helps prevent food spoilage. Additionally, we developed the process of canning. Canning does a couple of things. If you're doing like hot water bath canning, it heats up the food, which kills bacteria that's in it. And then you can seal the food airtight so that no other bacteria can get in, and any bacteria that might be left over do not have oxygen to go through their processes with. So it can help prevent spoilage. We also now have food additives. Food additives are things we add to food, hence the name additives. This includes a couple of categories. Antioxidants. You may have heard antioxidants in the sense that antioxidants are good for your body, but antioxidants just means things designed to slow down and prevent reactions with oxygen. So anytime something reacts with oxygen, we call that oxidation. And so an antioxidant is meant to stop that process from happening. Lots of reactions that cause food spoilage happen due to the presence of oxygen. Okay? This is the reason why when you cut into an apple and you leave the slices on the counter, they turn brown. They are oxidizing. So you need to introduce things that are antioxidants to slow down or prevent those reactions. We also have things called inhibitors. Inhibitors are chemicals that are designed to slow down different types of reactions. So antioxidants would fit into the category of inhibitors, but there are also inhibitors to slow down and stop reactions other than the ones that happen with oxygen. For example, BHT and BHA are inhibitors you will find in a lot of foods. And lastly, pasteurization. If you've ever bought a jug of milk and looked on it and it says that the milk has been pasteurized, this is what they mean by it. Pasteurization means that they heat that food up to a temperature that is very high, just long enough to kill off any bacteria that's in it, and also to destroy specific enzymes that start the process of breaking down that food. So for example, in milk, when milk goes bad, what happens to it? It curdles and it gets all chunky, okay? Enzymes are responsible for that. They start breaking down those fats and those proteins that are in the food, and then those fats and proteins clump up and they form those nasty clumpy chunks that you find in your milk. Okay? Pasteurization helps break down some of the enzymes that do that so it doesn't happen as quickly. And like I said, it also removes bacteria from it. And milk is not the only food that can be pasteurized. All right. Like I promised, very short lesson of notes for today.